Story 1. Rolling the dice on family. I never imagined that a simple Dungeons & Dragons game could change my life, but here we are. It all started with a kid named Max, a bright-eyed 9-year-old who loved rolling dice as much as any seasoned adventurer. Max was a regular at the family-friendly game I ran at a local game shop, one of the 2 campaigns I managed. My other game? A chaotic, booze-fueled home campaign with my 4 oldest friends, filled with inside jokes and humor that would make a bard blush. Very much not a space for kids. One day Max discovered that I had another game and, like any curious kid, asked if he could join. I gently told him it wasn't open to new players. He was cool about it, understanding in that way that makes you appreciate how mature kids can be sometimes. Enter Max's mom. When she picked him up and learned about my private game, she flipped out, demanding that I let him play. No amount of calm explanation could get through to her, and eventually the store owner had to step in. She left in a huff, nearly causing a car accident in her rush. Max, poor kid, was in tears, apologizing like any of this was his fault. My heart broke for him. Later, Max's dad showed up, utterly embarrassed. Turns out, his ex-wife just wanted a free babysitter so she could go out and party. He assured us she wouldn't be causing any more trouble. He also made it clear that he just wanted what was best for Max. I liked the guy immediately, just a dad trying to do right by his kid. Fast forward a few days and I ran into Max's dad again, this time with his sister Liz. They invited me to lunch to talk and I got a clearer picture of the whole situation. The divorce was nearly final, and Max's mom had essentially bargained away custody for a payout. She was moving a few states away to start fresh. Max wasn't just losing a mother, he was gaining something better. Liz, or Auntie Liz as Max called her, was stepping up to help raise him. She was new to this whole parenting thing, so she tagged along to the game shop to observe. I watched her sit through a session, eyes wide as I role-played Marty the farty lizard folk merchant, complete with hissing and fart sound effects. Max's monk barely survived the exchange, but he managed to snag some magical trinkets at the cost of a very real poison damage risk. By the end, Liz was laughing along with the rest of us. I considered it a win. Then came the biggest surprise. Liz had been roped into a parent group at Max's school. Apparently, Max had been talking up D&D to his classmates, and now there was a whole crew of kids eager to play. Since my private game was on hiatus for a few months, I offered to run a campaign for them, if the parents were comfortable with it. Not only were they comfortable with it, but they welcomed me like I was already part of their lives. Liz hosted the game at her place, and before I knew it, I was in a group chat with parents dropping off snacks and excitedly talking about their kids' characters. I walked into that first session expecting to run a game. Instead, I walked into a home filled with warmth, laughter, and a sense of belonging I never expected. I had always thought of myself as a guy who had his friends, his games, and not much else. But now I was Uncle Jake to a bunch of kids who saw me as their dungeon master and, in some small way, part of their family. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I had found a family of my own. The kids were amazing, nothing like Max's mom. Anna and I were a little nervous about chaperoning a group of energetic kids, but Max's friends turned out to be fantastic. They threw themselves into character creation and test encounters, completely immersed in the adventure. One girl in particular always found a way to sit next to Max, sneaking glances at him whenever she thought no one was watching. She had a massive crush on him, but Max, ever oblivious, had no clue. It was adorable. The parents were thrilled with game night, and to my surprise, I found myself genuinely enjoying running a campaign for these kids more than I expected. Anna and I agreed we could do this regularly. So now we were the game masters for an entire crew of young adventurers. And somewhere along the way Max started calling me Uncle Jake. I don't know what I did to earn the title, but I sure as hell wasn't about to correct him. And no, I absolutely did not get emotional when he first said it. So here I am. I still run 2 games, I've been unofficially adopted by a 9-year-old, and Anna's living room is now a battlefield of miniatures and dice. Max is an incredible kid and I feel lucky to have stumbled into his life. His real family is incredible. Well, mostly incredible. One person excluded. Life kept changing faster than I could process. I had gone from a guy who just ran games to someone wrapped up in a whirlwind of family, friendship, and, apparently, romance. Anna and I had been spending a lot of time together. Between organizing game nights and just hanging out, we'd grown closer. And yeah, I had fallen hard. Like, completely smitten, tripping over my own feet, teenage crush levels of infatuated. I had known this woman for barely a week and I was already a lost cause. It wasn't just me though. Our friends, the parents, even Reddit commenters were all telling me I'd be an idiot not to ask her out. But I wanted to take things slow, to let us settle into this new dynamic before making any big moves. That didn't last long. After a week of texting constantly and seeing each other almost daily, I finally worked up the nerve to ask her out. She said yes. But, of course, the universe had to throw one last hurdle in my way. Just before our date, she got hit with a migraine. She tried to tough it out, insisted we could still go, but I wasn't having it. I made her go lie down, brought her water and her meds, blacked out the curtains and told her to rest. A few hours later she called, sounding groggy but better, and asked for food. I brought her dinner and we ended up just eating together at her place. She kept apologizing, but I told her she could make it up to me, with another date tomorrow. And that date? That one actually happened. We had an amazing night, delicious food, a long walk, and hours of effortless conversation. When I dropped her off, she turned, smirked, and casually said, "You're my boyfriend now, by the way," before disappearing inside. I had zero complaints. Since then, we've gone on a few more dates, and every moment has just confirmed what I already knew. This woman is amazing, and I was right to fall for her. Apparently, I wasn't the only one smitten. Anna admitted she had been days away from asking me out if I hadn't made a move first. Oh, and she has not stopped teasing me about Marty the farty lizard folk. Worse, I told her about an upcoming werewolf NPC, and now she won't stop ruffling my hair and calling me a good boy. No more character previews for her. In just a few short weeks, my life flipped upside down. I went from running games to gaining a family I never expected. Max is still the coolest kid I know, and he's now obsessed with board games. He fell in love with Ticket to Ride after seeing my collection, so I gave it to him. Now he wants to play it every game night. He also told me he wants to learn how to be a dungeon master. I promised I'd teach him everything I know, and honestly, I'd be honored to play in any campaign that kid runs. As for Drew, Max's dad, he's hanging in there. The divorce finally wrapped up, and now he's focusing on being the best dad he can be. Max has been extra clingy, which honestly is completely understandable. They're spending a lot more time together, just the two of them working on puzzles, watching movies, and making up for lost time. Drew admitted to me that before all this, he barely had time for these moments. Now, they're the most important part of his week. Drew's exhausted but happy. He told me he doesn't plan on dating for a long time. "Right now, I just want to be a single dad," he said. "Figure out what life looks like for us first." And honestly, I respect the hell out of that. Anna, on the other hand, has finally gotten a little breathing room. With Drew taking some time off work, she's had more time to relax and focus on herself. She's been getting back into her hobbies, baking, gaming, just being herself again. Though she is hopeless with technology. I've now installed her Wi-Fi, set up her Switch, and troubleshot her laptop more times than I can count. At least she pays me in home-cooked meals, so I'm not complaining. So yeah, my life looks nothing like it did a few weeks ago, but I wouldn't change a thing. I have an amazing girlfriend, an incredible kid who calls me Uncle Jake, and a whole community that welcomed me like I belonged there all along. I never expected a game to lead to all of this. But sometimes, when you roll the dice, you land on something better than you ever imagined. Does this story resonate with you? Have you ever found unexpected friendships or a second family in the most unlikely places? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story warmed your heart, reminded you of the power of kindness, or made you smile, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's spread positivity and celebrate the connections that make life truly special.